Okay, so let's talk about rate of change. Rate of change is the exact same thing as slope. So you're going to see that you have change in y over change in x, and rate of change we'll say is when you're given data or you have a word problem, they'll ask you for the rate of change. You can calculate it the same as slope, which is your y coordinates over your x coordinates. So you'll have 2 points. And as you read your word problems, you can establish 2 points as you look through your word problem. Let's look at a couple. So here we've got one that talks about this graph as a swimming pool that's being filled, and at what rate is the pool being filled. So sometimes you can see this as a graph. You might see it as a table over time with gallons of water going in. And just as a hint, very often you'll be given time within your word problem. And anytime you have time, minutes, years, days, weeks, months, seconds, hours, whatever, time will be your X values. And whatever else you're given, water, money, CDs, anything else, those will be your Y values. So let's see what we've got. We've got these 2 points that they've already established for us, and we're going to do the rate of change from here at this 3108 and 252. So we're going to do change in y over change in x. Here's our slope formula. And we'll do 252 minus 108. Very often people are more comfortable doing this larger number minus the smaller number. And then 7 minus 3. Now, if you had started with the lower point just because you were thinking, oh, here's my first and here's my second, that would be fine as well. You just might have a different sign from your neighbor. But at the end, you would come up with the exact same answer. So we get 144 over 4. You can't see your 4, but it's down here. And when we reduce that, we get a 38. We can also find rate of change just by looking at a graph. And you need to be very careful and pay attention to your scaling here. If you'll notice, your x-axis is scaled by 4s, and this y-axis is scaled by 3s. But you can establish 2 points. We've got a point here, which is 0, negative 15. And we've got a point, or if you remember, you've got slope, which is rise over run. So if you can figure out what your rise is and then what your run is just by counting, then you can determine what your slope is. So we go up 24 just by counting. And remember to be careful of your scaling. And then what is our run? We go over 6. So if we reduce that 24 over 6, we have a slope of 4. And that is rate of change and slope.